streaming live from Paris. So whoever is not with us physically here, we are currently in flying stall of Paris, and we're doing a panel with these two amazing ladies. I'll introduce in a second. And thank you so much, everyone, who joined us in person. So these are our designers from yesterday's shows. Congratulations once again to all of you. I know that it's just sinking in, and I know that you're pretty tired. And thank you so much for coming out today to listen to this talk. So let me introduce our guest. So Petra, editor-in-chief of Elle Slovenia. So she's here to share her knowledge and give you a little bit of insight of this amazing world of publishing. And Julia, she is an amazing photographer. She was stylist in her previous career, turned photographer, and she shot for every big name magazine, including Vogue, Elle, Harper, Grazia. So she have a very unique perspective, like that means like their side where she dealt with designers, like on the stylist side, and then now herself dealing with stylists, like on the photographer side. So she also have a lot of really amazing knowledge that she hopefully will share with us today. So welcome one more time to all of our guests. And I want to start with something very basic, something that kind of obvious, but I still hear people ask a lot. And this is the question, why do we even need press? I mean, we all know, as you guys all know, as designers, that you need press. But why is it? Like, what does it even mean, and what does it even give you? Whoever knows the answers to all these questions, but yeah, I want Petra first to share her perspective on the magazine world and why it is important for brands to have the press.
People still read magazines. First of all, the press is not that. Well, if you will be published in a magazine like Elle magazine, Vogue magazine, Harper Bazaar, or this big name magazine, or even a small independent magazine, that's mean that your design, clothes, accessories are really something special, because they will be put together with other clothes that everybody knows. You know, on one page you will have your design, on a second page in styling you will have Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and that's bring your brand, your clothes to a higher level. You know, I know you now designers are working with influencers. It's okay too, but to be represented in press, it's important for you. It gives your brand a bigger value.
Amazing. Well, that's a really good answer. And I also would like to hear from Julia, like your perspective on why is that we need press.
So I know, even as Petra mentioned too, like if you even published in the independent magazine, if you're not yet, let's say you're not yet in Elle, you're not yet at that like bigger magazines, I feel like even smaller magazines make sense, because to me, it's like the quality standard. Basically, if you are seen there, it means you are approved. Let's say like that, approved. And I can tell you, it's interesting stuff that if you got in the one magazine, sometimes other magazines, they're asking, can you send us please the list where this brand was published before? And then we reach out to, like, Stylist reaches out to either PR company or showroom, and I like text, you know, let us know please. We have such situation when we shot the model, and it was just like very big model, let's say like former Victoria's Secret girl, and we wanted to place it in the publication. So when we reached a pretty big publication, they requested the list. They're like, okay, we love the girl, we want to have, but since we are publishing only big brands, please provide. And since the brands were independent, the small brands, so they didn't know, the list was like that, like a huge list where this like coat and I think a dress and something like that, and it got approved. because they saw, okay, then if other magazines publish these independent designers, it means we are safe, we can put it. So yeah, I think that's very important. It's like your reputation, it means you're in the game, basically, like, right? Like you are known, you are there, you are like worn by models, the stylists, photographers work with you. Yeah, so
And
it's important.
and with the Elle magazines, we have an inter platform where every Elle edition shares their material, what they are doing. So when we published in Elle Slovenia, then Elle Japan, Elle China, Elle US, Elle France, they see what are you doing. And if they like the whole editorial, they will say, can we publish it? So it happened to us that Slovenia is a really small country, but our editorials were published in China. It's a really huge success for us and for brand. And in this editorial were not just famous brand, but small, Slovenian brand, and they published anyway.
So we recently had something, and it went like that. We did editorial for Elle Slovenia, and then one Asian Elle picked up. I don't remember who it was. And then once they saw, so it went like Korea, Japan, Thailand, everything. It was crazy because we didn't expect it. We showed for Slovenian kind of market, right? Like, and people from there liked it, and it's amazing. And credits all get saved. So basically, the database, all the credits of the designers, it's the same.
The same.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is actually crazy. I personally didn't even know that Elle would share a database, and I was always wondering, is like, how is it sometimes you see the same editorial in different, like in the same magazine but different countries? So very good piece of knowledge. And well, let's start with basics. How do I'll ask Julia first, and then Petra. So how do brands even get into magazines? So obviously, some of you guys already represented by a showroom or by us, by our showroom, maybe, or some other showroom. But for those who are not, how do they even get into magazines? So what's the process?
So how everything like starts, for example, how we work with Petra, right? We have, for example, they have like request to shoot an editorial, let's say for spring issue, right? Then from my point of view as a photographer, I create a mood board. I send to Petra to approve, and she says, okay, like that works. Sometimes she has some changes, maybe for the clothing mood. It doesn't mean that I offer designers, but I just offer, inspiration, how I see, how the mood, how the girl, will she be like strong or soft? Will it be outside or will it be in the studio? What makeup I'm thinking about that, what hair, like styling board. And there sometimes we go back and forth because Petra knows better, like their market, like what's overall the issue is going to be. Then the next step is the casting. So since we've already been working for a long time, I know kind of the style of the models that Elle Slovenia prefers. It has to be like high level looking girl, professional, so I already know. So I request model agencies like, hey, I'm shooting for Elle. They already know Elle Slovenia because we do a lot of in New York for them. They send me the packages. And again, I send to Petra, and she sees what the model will work better for Elle, for this issue, for what I, offered as the mood. And then starts my work with the stylist who I hire. So I sent the stylist the mood approved by the magazine. And since, like, let's say, if there is sometimes like young independent magazines, stuff like that, they still don't have their established brand, a vision. So there sometimes you can go crazy. Like it's a little bit like artsy, right? Elle is a very established brand. So it's been around for years. They have their aesthetic. So it has to be in the frame of that. We can't do whatever stylist dreamt this night, it has to be close to this mood. So the stylist then, she thinks, okay, so let's say recently we showed like this, it's not out yet. It was like a knitwear, because now it's very trendy. It's a very big trend, like kind of knitwear, but which is close to the body, kind of a little sexy, I would say, vibe. So that was our theme. And so I have a few requests for the stylist. I'm like, okay, so I don't want model just to stand like this. I want her to move. So that's why we can't get like tight skirts, because she won't be able to do this like yoga posing or whatever. Model is very, very tall, who we had. So we need to like, because if she will get something like 0, 0 size, it's going to be very short. So that doesn't work too. So stylist overall is the hardest work. So stylist thinks, okay, she's like, okay, I remember that like in that showroom, in that, and in that designer, for example, who sent me lookbook, I saw knitwear. So I'm going to request those people if they still have it, if the samples are available, if they want to participate. Of course, everybody wants to participate. So it's only about like if they have on hand the samples. And then she goes and she picks up the thing too. From the 100% of she picks up, she brings like 3 suitcases on set. We shoot only like 40-50%. Because something doesn't work with the model, something light, not right. Yeah. Something can be like, let's say it's a little out of story. It's kind of knitwear, but maybe it's like the fabric is not right, or everything we have bright and then one look dark. We can't. So that's, even if it's amazing, it, you know, it doesn't go. So yeah, and then we shoot it in retouch, and basically whatever worked on set, that's going to get published. And so you can see how a long journey to be in the showroom to get to the magazine, because but the thing is too, it's a lot about stylist. Yeah. It's a lot because it's her vision, or like their vision, right? Like, and ability, I think, to stick to this mood board. And that's for higher level magazines. Mm-hmm. Like you need to have ability to do that. So yeah, that's my work.
Yeah. So what about you, Petra?
I will say get in touch with a good stylist, because the stylist will open you the door to any kind of magazine. Because these days I got a lot of emails with the submission editorial. You know, when team, young designer, young stylist, young photographer, they do the stories, and they send me and said, oh, we did this and we this. Is this proper for your magazine? Will it suit in the next issue? And I look all the stories, and sometimes I find a really interesting editorial, even if it's not shoot with but with a very known brand, and we publish it because it's a good story. Because in Elle they said the editorial, when you saw it, they need to inspire you to start dreaming about these clothes, you know. And if it's good editorial, then the people will say, oh, this is okay, this is nice, I want to be this person in the picture, I want to have that kind of styling, and that's it. So
awesome. I mean, I love these two perspectives on how the whole thing even happens. So, so what are the best practices, and also Petra, best and worst practices of reaching out to like a magazine or to a stylist or to a photographer? So obviously you answer from the point of view of the magazine. And like, how do young or more established designers should reach out? Is it email? Is it DM? What's the proper form? Should they send a lookbook? Like, so yeah, if you can please share.
Mm-hmm. So if you have a lookbook, super. If you don't have a lookbook, you need to go that way, like I said before. You need to get in touch with the photographer, stylist, and you do an editorial, and you can send me. But it's important that you have photos of your clothes. That if you don't have photos, I will not see your clothes, and I will not publish anything. I need to see your clothes, your accessories. So the best way is by email. If you have a lookbook, you can send it a lookbook. You can send it a story behind of the collection. And maybe you can even shoot a lookbook in a way of editorial. This is also kind of popular these days, but it's one trick. You know, if you will send me a lookbook, an editorial, that means I cannot publish 8 pictures only with your clothes, because that's for the magazine will mean this is ad, you know, 8 picture, one brand. The marketing will say, hello, Petra, they need to pay it for that kind of pay. So yeah, the best way, editorial.
Amazing. And if you can expand a little bit, I know that majority of you know, but for whoever may be watching don't know. So what's the difference between an editorial? Like how do you count what's editorial and what's a lookbook, even if they like both properly shot and everything?
I mean, a lookbook is for the people who. Sorry for my English. For buyers, yeah, for buyers, because it should like in front, in behind, because the buyers need to see the clothes, how their customer will wear it. But in editorial, you can, for example, wear a skirt like a dress. You can put it.
Or the light can be, from photographer's point of view, light can be not so bright. It can be darker. It can be a little blurry, like that, right?
Yes. So that's the main difference. For me, for magazine, it's better editorial, because I got the already finished everything. I just need to publish it. But in catalog, as I said, for me, I can only put like on a news page. You say I will publish 1 photos, and I will say this brand, you can buy it here and here. This is the inspiration of his collection. But you will get a small pictures and the news. If this is okay with you for the brand, super. But if you want to be fashion, then it's editorial.
And it's actually a trend, but of course, only very big brands can afford this. Like, you know, how we discussed with like one designer. I was shooting lookbook. She's a young designer, and she was like, "Oh my God, I saw this advertising on the streets of New York of this big, huge brand. I don't remember the name." And she's like, "Nothing is seen. Everything is dark. I don't see what she is wearing." But they promote it as their advertising. Of course, like because it's money investment for the young designer, right? Like, so, but maybe you can manage to do it in one day. Maybe you can ask your photographer, okay, now we're doing bright light, flash, all the details is seen, model stand like straight, but then let's like spend 15 minutes after each look that we represent to our buyers and like for inner use, let's do something a little more crazy. Maybe you will switch off one light and it will be more moody, more artsy. And that way you don't need to have 2 shooting days. So you will save money, but you still will have different materials. So think about that, because you need both. Now, like sorry, like now I see Fashion Week is going right, and some brands who even don't do collections, they do just lookbooks to represent on Vogue.com, and some of them very creative, even as a lookbook. Something is cut, different angles, everything, but again, they can afford it. Yeah, cool.
So, and Julie, if you can share from your perspective, like to them, both stylists and photographers, since you obviously have both perspectives, what's the best way for designer to reach out to you? Like DMs, emails, like best and worst practices?
Email is always more professional, of course, and I know actually people from the industry, different people, they really appreciate when you send emails, and not just like DM, or you can send an email and then like just follow up with the DM and say, hey, like I just sent you, like please check. So if you're a designer, you should send lookbook, because sometimes I'm still styling by myself, like little things. If it's a beauty, if I don't want to bother stylists, because I know what a huge work it is. So for me, I can go to flying solo. I can pick up, like, I know that I have only 5 pictures. I can pick up like 10 looks and end up with 5 at the end. But if I know that I'm not, styling, everything what I like, I forward to the stylist that I work with. And
Yeah.
I'm sure other photographers too.
Yes.
I'm happy to share, and they will use like for for this magazine, or they will keep it for other. I know that people, some people that I actually connected, they started to work further. Designers, PRs, and stylists. They started to work and it carry on to different magazines, and it's amazing. And I always tell that don't be shy to repeat your emails, because people we get so many emails that sometimes they just get lost, or sometimes you just like not on time, you didn't save it, you didn't put it in the right folder. And sometimes like, oh my god, I definitely remember I had like this amazing jewelry, where is it? And I like started, because it's a lot. So I would suggest like to follow up like 2 times 3 times a season, just to say hi. For me, for photographer, I'm sure you get like tons of everything, but it's very helpful actually. So don't be shy to reach out, I feel like.
Yeah.
And sometimes stylists put the pictures from the lookbook in the mood board, because I sometimes get mood boards from a photographer, but sometimes I get a mood board from a stylist. So
yeah. So if you send for the stylist, and stylist inspired by your stuff and wants to use that's the mood board that I told you, style board that I approved with Petra too. It's already can be your pictures, not just some random pictures that they took from Pinterest. Yes. But she already knows that she saw this dress. She thinks it's definitely going to be amazing, and she and Petra already sees that it's going to be
published in editorial.
Amazing. And my 2 cents here, like for Julia mentioned about collaboration and how teams are connecting and then working together. So my biggest advice is always be thankful to the people that work with you. Like this is one little thing that will take you to the next level. Like if a magazine or a stylist or photographer chose to work with you, and they could have choose to work with anyone else, choose to work with you, always say thank you. Little DM stating like, thank you so much for using my piece, look amazing, looking forward to working with you again, makes a difference. Because I heard from so many editors, stylists, photographers, like they'll come back to us for flying solo, for example, and then they'll be like, well, like in a previous photo shoot I used this and this designer, they were so nice to me after. They say thank you, can I please see the entire collection because I want to work with them again. And this is like this, I don't know, 3 minutes spent by designer will literally make them like connected to the styles application directly, and like keep the press growing for them. So don't forget about that. And the other little piece of advice is, even if someone reach out to you or you reach out to a magazine and they denied your editorial, or maybe the stylist pick up your item but then not end up using for whatever reason, like don't be upset, or like even worse, like tell people that they wasted their time or whatever. I mean, hopefully none of you ever did it, but just saying, because there things might not work out for various reasons. And it's not because the styles didn't want to use it, or maybe not even magazine didn't want to use it, but maybe your editorial was too wintry for their spring issue and you didn't feel that, but they felt it. Or maybe the stylist took your item and was very inspired by it, but models couldn't fit, or the look didn't work, or they couldn't shoot it for any other reason. But I would say still in this case, always be grateful. You can always say, thank you so much for trying. I really appreciate the effort. And again, it will take you to the next level. So please be mindful of that. And I'll ask the last question from our guest before I open to your question. And it's more probably on a like philosophical side, because designers often ask it, how long does it take for a brand to be successful? And I think like if I can have first Julia's perspective and then Petra, like if someone asks you how long does it take for a fashion brand to from zero to become successful, like how would you answer that?
But you definitely need to have a few seasons. I don't think that you can just even like one, because in the collection, obviously, let's be honest, it's a few pieces that are editorial usually, right? It's more spectacular, they photograph good. You can't do the whole collection, super editorial collection, especially since not all the clients, like if it's not super wearable, right? Like you like it's not, maybe it may be too editorial for clients. So we always need to have in the collection a couple of super editorial pieces that we know we will do marketing for that. These are PR pieces that represent the brand, but the rest goes inspired by that, goes like more for sale and so on. So I don't think that's just 1 or 2 seasons that you will get noticeable. I feel like you need a few seasons, you need a lot publications, you need also a good Instagram, social media content. You need to be very active, you need to post everything behind the scenes, videos, everything, like use any opportunity. So I would say like that. Yeah, you definitely need some time, definitely. Yeah, that's what I feel.
What's your perspective, Petra?
The same. I would say good marketing is also, I don't know, are also influencers, you know, magazines, influencers, your social media, just your name needs to be heard, you know. Even if you are not showing the whole collection, even just a small sleeve or something like this, your name needs to be heard many times of the day, or this would be in magazine, or this would be social media. And yes, season 2, if you get a really lucky and you have a lot of money behind of your brand for marketing for them, then sometimes even 1 season. Yeah, but this is it.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. So open for your questions, guys. Now, so if you have a question, please raise your hand, and I'll yes.
So how to start to collaborate with
Like we said, I need to see your clothes. So you need to send me pictures of your clothes in a catalog or in a lookbook. Then, when I will do a styling in Slovenia, so then with the brands, I need to have clothes like in a showroom. I said, okay, this and this and this I will have in my editorial, and then you send the clothes. We did a editorial, and then we send the clothes back. Or you can, as I said, get in touch with the stylist you know, the photographer you know, and you try to do editorial. And if it fits our aesthetic, or every magazine has their own aesthetic, then okay, I will publish it. Sometimes we publish digital, sometimes we published in a print. I can say it's more prestige for me. But yeah, yes. If you want to be represented in only your brand in a 4, 6, 8 page, then I will give you contact of our marketing department, and they will give you the price for the page. But if it's editorial, then it's mean not only your brand, other brands, then it's for free because it's editorial, you know. But if it's only your brand, like a catalog, then it's need to, because it's look like an ad, you know. Advertising, commercial.
So otherwise
If it's in editorial,
it's in editorial.
So it can be one brand, because if it's like, even when we shoot editorial, it's always have to be like at least 5, 6 brands. If you're going for 6, like 8 pages, you can't. That's the rules of editorial. So editorial has certain rules. As me as a photographer, I can't, for editorial, for example, I can't shoot everything full body. You can't on each picture see right shoes, because it will look commercial. It will look like lookbook. So sometimes it always needs to be close up with maybe some jewelry. Also, it can be creative.
American,
Yeah.
and then
Also, even like a sleeve can be seen, you know, on some interesting shots. And again, even if it will be your credit, it's already a lot because, right, maybe people will be interested and go there and so on. And you mentioned if you're represented by Flying Solo, a lot in New York, especially, like a lot of stylists who I work with, like they visit Flying Solo. So I would suggest you, if you already have lookbook, you mentioned you showed something, right? Like, yeah. So when it will be ready, you need to research or maybe like check who works with Flying Solo from the stylist, and you just send out your lookbook, and people maybe they will get inspired. They will go to showroom and they will ask Flying Solo PR, where is that designer? Because I feel like I know you have them, and I have editorial that fits, like, so I need to pull them. But you need to tell them that you are there. It's good from your side too, you know. So, and then you will be included if you fit the aesthetic.
All I need is all information, email.
That's your job. Yeah, that's hard. That's the hardest part. We all do that. On all level, you do your research, your homework. You have to do it. Be in touch.
First, your email.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so we have another question. Thank you for your question. Yeah.
So when you're looking for a brand to publish, do you tend to lean more towards things that are new and fresh and eclectic, or are you looking for something a little more on trend with, I know we talked about seasons, but a little more on trend with what the general public is wanting to wear and buy? What do you look for when someone submits their
mix of everything. Yeah, it also depends of the story, depends of the mood board. But I'm looking for the brand that also the readers can buy it. So if you are represented by Flying Solo, I need to put the web address so that our readers can go there, and if this store sells the clothes in Slovenia, or they are shipping to Slovenia, it's quite important for me. But sometimes I just put it in because they fit in.
Yeah, what about your perspective, Julian?
From my side, I feel like different stylists and different photographers, they have their style. So for me, like I, for example, I don't shoot a lot of like, you know, very super crazy stuff, like costumey, let's say, you know what I mean? Like a little bit more like a couture, but let's think about like Rick Owens and all that. Like it's not my aesthetic a little bit. I like edgy stuff, young. Definitely that maybe a woman who she can wear it every day, but people will pay attention to that. So she won't merge with the crowd. It definitely will be like stand out and very like fresh. To me, it's very important, like, you know, that you pay attention to that, but it's still wearable. So, but there are many amazing photographers who do the opposite, who can work and like they enjoy doing all this, like, and style is the same. So even when I like for Elle magazine, I'm thinking like who from the stylist I have, and I'm like, okay, like this stylist, she feels it. That's her aesthetic. She's like minimal, but she likes colors. She likes the type, so she gets it. Because if you, I had experience sometimes when I had something in my mind, I like hire or ask like to work a person, and I understand that they still within this mood they still try like to do their thing, you know what I mean, that maybe for that mood it's not right. So what I'm saying, there are so many different aesthetics that you will find yours, you will find your team, you will find your like photographer style who will like your stuff. You just need to pay attention and research. That's the most important. Like research who are they, what are they doing, which magazines they wear, like what they like, what designers, like how they even look by themselves, because sometimes like you can see, right? So I think for everybody, I think the most thing is good quality.
Yeah.
Right, like strong message to me personally, and a good
quality, because you can see this on photo.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Awesome. Any other questions? Guys, don't be shy. It's a really good chance to ask what's on your mind.
The one and only.
Yeah.
Sure, I have a question. Yeah. I'm sure at the level that you two work, part of your job is to satisfy your audience. But then the other part of your job, I'm sure, is to also share your own voice at the same time.
Yeah.
So I wonder how it is that you balance that. Because for me as an artist, of course, I'm more inclined to my personal aesthetic and my personal desires. But our job is to sell fashion. So how do you balance your audience and your personal aesthetic and passions around fashion?
Well, quite difficult because when I start working with Elle, I went into Paris so they introduced me the Elle aesthetic. So I really need to work with this aesthetic because I'm working for Elle, not for me. So I need to follow the Elle aesthetic. I was studying I finished. I'm a fashion designer, but I'm working as an editor. So I need to down my voice because they are quite because it's a big brand like Vogue, like any others, these big names. So for me, it's more tough than from some independent magazines.
But I also think, as you mentioned, how stylist is important, because styling can either emphasize that or they can make it wearable. So that's where the good stylists come in.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's like crazy dress, but like I'm the photographer, I understand how I need to shoot it. Maybe I need like sometimes to show less, but I still will give the credit to the designer.
Yeah.
It will be within the aesthetic, or maybe I need to do brighter light or softer light, to show it. But stylists too, maybe it's a crazy top and they will style it with the jeans and it will be wearable, or maybe like huge earrings just with a white tank top, so we show your product, it's cool, it's edgy, but at the same time everything else is very calm. So sometimes you can pull it off. So we still, like, I personally, I enjoy, and sometimes it's a challenge because we know that we need to be in these frames, but it's interesting challenge because when it's like comes out fresh but still wearable, like, I love it, especially when models like love how they look in this. It means that they want to wear this.
So it sounds like you're saying it's almost related to how you delegate and who you delegate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It means so much because I think that styling actually can completely kill the shot if it's not right styled, if the proportions not right. I can try to my best with the photographer and with the lenses, like to help the body, like, but if it's off, like there is, so that is so important. That's what I'm saying, that I feel like the stylist is one of the key figures. Yeah.
Amazing. Any last question? Yes.
Maybe you have some statistics. How many new brands start with you, collaboration, and follow his career now?
Oh, no. No, I don't have this statistic.
I know that, like, it's interesting when I go to the showroom or like a stylist brief.
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I have one. It is one of our really young and prospective designers who started with Elle Slovenia, and now he's working in Paris. And because he showed that he was working with Elle, and the stores got interested in his design, and then he was starting to working with celebrities like Bjork, like others, and now he's a really famous designer here in Paris.
Very good and inspiring
Yes.
story. So I would like to thank our guests for coming and sharing their knowledge with us. Thank you so much, Julia, Petra. It was a pleasure having you guys here. So I'm sure they'll stick around for a few more minutes. Just if you have private questions to ask, like, yeah, they'll be here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.